I'm sure you'll agree that the last letter of grit, T or today, has been an awesome day to dream, grow, and learn. Here to teach your last class is powerhouse and keynote teacher, Independent Executive National Sales Director, Pamela Waldrop Shaw. Lean in as Pamela Waldrop Shaw teaches you how to build your business today.
Prompters, I don't even see them.
It's on the floor right now.
Okay. Hey! Oh, yeah. Here we go. Baby, I got it. Woo. This is a day. Oh, my goodness gracious. I just got to Snapchat you to my friends. Let's just take care of the first things first. Oh my goodness, this is a day. This is the day we're gonna. Yes, we are. Oh, I'm so excited to be your keynote teacher today. I know you've enjoyed your teachers this morning, have you not? Weren't they awesome? Well, as your last teacher today, I want to give you something sustaining before you leave. I want you to walk away from this exceptional experience, this exceptional classroom, with not only the intent to radically change your Mary Kay business, but the mindset and the tools and a game plan to do it. And I don't mean sheer inspiration or the intention to improve one day. I mean radical, intentional living that's going to change your business today, one day at a time, respecting and embracing the value of today. Here's what I know for sure. Time is your greatest commodity and procrastination is your greatest enemy towards stepping into your destiny. This year, I invite you to decide what you value and speak what you desire and work towards it. What are you waiting for? It's time to win. And it's time to make winning a habit, and it's time to succeed and define what success is for yourself. It's time to dream, and it's time to dream big, girls. Have you started to dream bigger now that you've been here in Dallas at seminar? Here's something else I know for sure. There's a difference between a wish and a dream, a daydream and an inspired dream. To accomplish your dreams, there's got to be action and movement. There's got to be consistency and accomplishment. So let's go back to your goal statement that you wrote in your first class. Today you've been asked to complete a sentence. This year I will. I want you to go back to that place in your notes. What was your goal statement? Was it gritty enough? Was it bold enough and scary enough? Was it a doable or a stretch goal? I want you to reevaluate your original statement. If you were sure you could accomplish it, if you were positive, you could count on yourself to prioritize the action to bring it about. If you knew, if you could know the obstacles, that they would not overwhelm you. If you were sure what to do and what steps to take and what to say in each situation, what would your statement read? This year, I will. So take a few seconds and look at your goal and edit your statement if you need to. And if not, just make it bolder and bigger on your paper. Take a second. You like it? You married to it? Now that you're clearer on your goal, let's come back to today. It's time to reach that goal and maximize your success. Here are some thoughts and tips and steps that I believe will support you to accomplish your big, scary, amazing, wonderful goal today. It's time to bring about your greatness and show up as ready right now and engage your invincible superpower. Here are 5 points I want to gift you with today. Number 1, it's vital that you have a sense of urgency. Powerful entrepreneurs work with high levels of activity and creativity. There's an unstoppable energy that you can summon when you're working with passion towards your goals. It's a feeling that the goal has to be reached right now. Without a sense of urgency, goals can stretch out, and when you start saying, I can tackle it tomorrow, tomorrow often becomes next week often becomes next month, and let's be honest, next month can become never. One of the greatest American freedoms we have is the privilege to build a business, to work, to earn according to your ability and willingness to invest in yourself, to connect wisely, to prioritize with consistency, and select a great opportunity that will not fire you or limit you with a glass ceiling. Many people go their entire lives doing what they do today because it's what they did yesterday without giving consideration to the incredible possibilities that we have here in the United States of America, the unique landscape of our culture and our country, its independence and its freedom at the height of its definition. So for me as a patriot, it would be such a waste to live under my opportunity or my ability. You can design your life and you can live your vision, but it takes decisiveness and boundaries. It takes the regeneration of good habits to replace habits that aren't serving you well. It takes accountability along with a very clear goal accomplishment to live and achieve the American dream. Respecting today. Otherwise, you might find yourself in the American nightmare. In my trade book teaching, Design Your Life, Live Your Vision, the foundation is that you can change anything in 90 days. Do you believe that? Do you really believe that? I don't think you believe that, or I think you would have done it before, but I want you to believe it when you leave today. In 90 days, you can change your body, you can change your marriage, you can change your finances, and you can certainly change your career in 90 consistent, sustained days. Are you willing to go a strong 90 days, one good day at a time? Because the only goal you can count on is the short-term goal. And really what you can count on is your choice in this minute, in this half hour. I can't decide what I'll be eating 1 month from now. I have no idea what I'll be eating 1 month from now. I only know what my next choice is going to look like. I can't say next month I'll go on target for. I only know how many phone calls I'm willing to make in the next half hour that will produce booked, coached, and pre-profiled parties that will create an opportunity for me to meet enough people through our product and marketing plan shares to create an on-target status. What I do right now. Urgency. What is the one thing? What is the one thing that would make the biggest difference in the success of your business? That if you did that one thing, it would make other things less important or not important at all. What is your one thing? You start where you are. You start from where you are. And since every success in our business originates around the kitchen table, you start with what your date book looks like, with parties and career survey shares. So what will it take for you to create a greater sense of urgency? Consider the week before you left town to come to Dallas. Your lists, your sense of right now, your ability to delegate and prioritize. You were fierce, you were a beast, you were crazy, you were in circles, and you got it done. Why? Because the plane to Dallas was taking off with or without you. You had a deadline that you had to meet. You mustered up the willingness to prioritize and engage self-discipline to meet that deadline. Many people think they lack the self-discipline to get something done, but let me tell you, there's more to it. A sense of urgency means that you have to decide something. You had to decide and commit to come to seminar. Or last week would have been a normal summer week, whatever that means to you. So your decision, what you wrote in your goal sentence, the seriousness of that decision, it's a critical piece to your accomplishment. Every worthwhile goal has definable aspects, and that includes the promotion, the outcome, the date of reckoning. Without the deadline and commitment to it, there is no urgency. We spend days just justifying why not in the excuses that we make. We have all of the why nots in the world, and this is because we lack the clarity of decision to make this goal accomplishment important enough in our lives. I debuted August 2000 as a national sales director. My late husband, Jerry, left his job at Golden Bear in West Palm Beach in 1991 when we got married, and he worked tirelessly alongside of me towards the $1 million years we celebrated with our #1 unit and towards building our national area. He was nearly 7 years younger than I, yet in December 2006, he lost his life to ALS. Our son was 12. In front of me, as a single mother and widow, was puberty. Oh. And a roller coaster that was really a foreign ride to my family. one that for many years to follow included alcohol and substance abuse in my son, residential rehab, and much heartache. Now, my incredible son is a seminar baby. He was born right here in Dallas on day 00, 1994. That's right. I could not think of an excuse not to come to Dallas just because I was due. That didn't seem like a good enough one. He just turned 22 this week, and he's working at UPS in Louisville, Kentucky, and he's taking a break from school, and he's sober, and he's moving forward in his amazing life. I share that with you for one reason, not because any of it is easy to share even these years later. But I know you have stories of loss and grief, things you didn't plan on, circumstances you didn't invite, plan B, things you didn't cause, things you can't cure, things you can't control, and things you can't change. And that's where grit comes in. Yes, faith is foundational to grit, and I would not be fully authentic with you if I didn't tell you that the rock I land on is the one true God and his promises for grace and love and provision. But because we get the advantage of retrospect, let's take, for example, Goliath wasn't sent to defeat David, but to promote him. He came on the scene as preparation for David's life calling and leadership pathway. We can't point to unwelcomed or unfortunate circumstances as our why not. Sometimes God will change your circle and your circumstance to change your life. What's it going to take for your why to be bigger than your why not? God's plan for your life far exceed your circumstances of today. Your why not will become your why story when you persevere. Number 2, use your grit to impact today. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, which does still exist even if you Google it, grit in the context of behavior is defined as firmness of character, the indomitable spirit. I would add you get gritty when you add perseverance and passion for long-term goals. By working through the short-term situation with fierce determination and urgency. Urgency is when you realize that delay is foolish. People called my late husband Superman. He was a triathlete, and he wore a 1983 SEC ring from the University of Florida, football championship player. We have some Gators over here. All right. Jerry Shaw was the epitome of health. Never could his diagnosis of Lou Gehrig's disease or early death have been predicted. Respect today. Respect the time and the circumstances you do have today. Demand more from yourself today, now, so that you don't risk any regrets on any form. Tomorrow. It's a mystical land where 99% of all human productivity, motivation, and achievement is stored. Tomorrow. If you've said to yourself, or even your subconscious mind, any version of, I'm going to start fresh on Monday. I'm going to start the new seminar year differently. When I get back from Dallas, I'm gonna, when I get back. Your future is already defeated and you don't even know it. This is the day. The only easy day was yesterday. How will you define a winning day today? Because if you don't design it, mentally walk through it, what would be victorious, write it out, schedule it, and then live and work out of courage and change different, then your habits, far more ingrained, will take right back over again. How do you override the stamp of your negative thoughts, the stamp of your historical patterns and habits created and nurtured over time? It takes much determination, focus, bravery, and effort to turn the rudder of your ship with grit and intention. Remember that success is not convenient to anybody. Push through. The women you see in this suit, you did not see or get to observe when she was where you are. You did not get to see me with a corded telephone, hiding on the far side of my apartment bedroom so my roommates couldn't hear me make booking calls under the bed in case I got rejected. You didn't see me putting real product on a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 pages. It was supposed to be a face, and then putting the product on and then spraying it with Aquanet hairspray, putting it in a page protector sheet, and taking it to my party to try and book my second color appointment. You didn't get to see that. You didn't get to see me getting lost in Fort Lauderdale. I'm directionally challenged. So in Fort Lauderdale, it was a time where there were no cell phones, there was no Siri, there was no maps. Well, there was a paper map that I couldn't read. To find my way to a hostess's home, to see her peering out from the side of the curtains, but not answering the door. You didn't get to see that. That, after an exhilarating 10-hour day as a high school English and dance teacher working 70 to 80 hours a week. No, you didn't see me as a new sales director in my unit meeting, the rent, the microphone at the hotel costing over $80 that week that I didn't have, and no one showing up for that meeting. You didn't get to see that. You have to dig down deep to know that you're made of more than desirable results in order to press on. You've got to trust that your mishaps and missteps and disappointments are your preparation, and they are your schoolroom for getting better. They're your schoolroom for making you wiser, and they are pruning you for more and better down the road. You didn't see me when a tow truck came to my apartment to relocate my first pink Cadillac. A true test of grit. And a turning point that shaped every win from that point forward that I would be extremely intentional and in front of. No, you see me as Inner Circle Executive National Sales Director Pamela Shaw. But in my hometown, even today, people don't see me that way. I run into classmates from high school and it sounds like this. Hey, Pamela, you still selling that Mary Kay? My answer, I sure am. Every NSD has stories, and I have many more. Building a business may not be easy, but it's worth it. You're not alone. Everyone suffers setbacks in their business and in life. The key, however, is to pick yourself up and bounce back. Here's how I process disappointment and setback. Did I cause this? By ignoring some truth I've been taught, taking a shortcut that wasn't smart, trying something on my own without the benefit of 52 years of company history and education from my director or recruiter. Did I cause it? Was there something I could have done differently, better, that would have given me more predictable results? If not, then what can I learn from this? What skill do I need to polish or master to overcome it? Given the same scenario moving forward, what can I do differently the next time that will more likely give me a better outcome? Life gives you clues. As a little girl on a rainy day, my mom would play a game with the three of us, my siblings, older sister, younger brother, in the living room. It was called I Spy the Thimble. I don't know if she made it up or if this is a game others of you have played. Have you ever played this? Well, on a rainy day, we lived in a small home, and my mother was a seamstress anyway, a home economics teacher. So she would take a thimble, and she would have us hide our eyes, and we'd hide our eyes, and then she would go hide the thimble somewhere in the house. And when it was your turn, you would walk, and someone would say, colder, 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 warmer, 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 hotter, 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 hotter. Life is the same way. Life gives you clues. Colder, 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 courage, grit, warmer, warmer. Look at your outcomes with the same eagerness. Warmer, warmer, warmer. What gives you that outcome? Tune into the clues of your life. I want you to revisit the day you said yes to your Mary Kay opportunity. Remember the day? Where were you? What was going on in your life? Who was with you? What were you wearing? What thoughts were swirling around in your head? What hope did you have? What were you thinking you'd be able to do more of or get away from or accomplish to put to use some talent or experience? Or what dream was in your mind the day you signed your beauty consultant agreement or clicked send? Recall this often because it was a pivotal moment. Hope is seeing through the eyes of your heart things that are not yet. Do not let the naysayers or the critics or your inner circle or inner critic or less than stage-worthy results define anything other than the grit deep inside of you that will rise to the occasion of persevering toward the fulfillment of your dream. You've got grit too. Consider a time in your life, and maybe it's now, where you use sheer grit to accomplish something, to push through, to keep your nostrils above the water, to tough it out, to get to the other side of a situation or a circumstance. Now, for crying out loud, use that same grit now to elevate your Mary Kay business today. Today is what you have. Time invested in one area is time away from another. Being here today is not being where you would be if you were at home. Be intentional with your choice every day, every hour, every half hour, every minute. There is no such thing as spare time. There's no such thing as free time. There's no such thing as downtime. All you've got is the time you've got. And because none of us knows how much time that is, today matters. Grit it out. Number 3, it's a matter of focus. It's a matter of focus. You never lose focus, you're always focused on something. Get in the habit of asking yourself what you're focused on, and that will either affirm your focus is on the pathway of winning and advancing in your Mary Kay business, or admitting that you may just be focused on the wrong thing. Have you ever been to the beach, staked out your spot, planted your chair, your towel, your cooler, your bag, your book, all your stuff, you know, you got your beach spot all marked out, and then you get in the water and you play and you splash around and you swim and you jump waves and you turn around and you get out of the water and you're like, where's my chair? Has that ever happened to you? Where's my chair? You're nowhere near your bath towel or your chair. While you were playing, you drifted. It didn't take a lightning storm, a shark warning, or a hurricane to cause you to panic or lose focus just for a minute. You drifted because you were more focused on playing than on where you were. Same beach, day of a triathlon. You're participating. Let's just pretend. You jump in the water for the swim. It may feel like hectic chaos, but there are floating boundaries and coaches keeping the swimmers on course. It's a different level of activity, focus, and intent. Same ocean, same spot on the beach, different focus. Focus takes place in your prefrontal cortex in the front of your mind. Your prefrontal cortex can change everything like you. It's like shining a spotlight on what matters, but it won't happen to you. You have to create that focus. People do not drift into commitment. They drift into complacency. It's a matter of focus. Unsuccessful people focus their thinking on survival. Average people focus their thinking on maintenance. Successful people focus their thinking on progress, growth, accomplishment, success, increase. What distracts us from focus? I think there are 2 biggies. 1, conflicting values, and 2, fears. Fear of failure is characterized by an unhealthy aversion to taking risk. Have you ever seen those insurance commercials where the couple stay busy doing chores to force the other person to call the agent? I think those are the funniest things. Honey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm folding laundry. He folds it all over again. He's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm raking leaves, because she just redoes them all over again, throwing raked leaves in the grass to re-rake the leaves. We'll do anything to avoid what we fear. Grit and fear cannot occupy the same space. So what is it that you're really afraid of? Is it not earning enough? Is it what people are going to say about you? Is it being embarrassed? Is it that you might miss the goal? Are you afraid of not doing something right? What is it that you're really afraid of? Because grit has to be practiced with focus, and that usually occurs from a feeling of disappointment or loss. We have to reframe failure. Everyone we know in the arena of technology, sports, business, people who we admire for their success, we have no problem quoting their failures, and we position these failures like a crown. You've heard this quote many times before. Who am I? I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the winning shot and I missed. I failed over and over, and I failed over and over, and I failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed. Who is it? And we say, oh yeah, but it's Michael Jordan. That's Michael Jordan. Well, just like executive national sales director wasn't always Pamela Shaw, Michael Jordan wasn't always Michael Jordan. Missed 9,000 shots, lost 300 games, 26 times. Y'all have watched the end of a ball game. I love sports. Like Lisa, unlike Lisa, I did know who Pat Summitt was. But I live close to Tennessee. That's closer than Wisconsin, where she's from. 26 times. Michael Jordan, 26 times, the buzzer's ringing. 26 times, the buzzer's ringing. His coach, his teammates, his wife, all the fans, they're going, yes, 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 you can do it. And he missed? Surely we can agree that did not feel good to Michael Jordan. His push through, his grit allowed him to move beyond each failure so that the accumulation of his career is world-class success. So we have to learn how to translate that in the privacy of our everyday lives. Accountability will fade your fears. Accountability will fade your fears. Accountability, it will fade them. On your own, your mind will run wild and it will run rampant. But when you're connected, there's value in having people in your life who've likely struggled with the same situations and similar fears that you have. Your director is your coach, your mentor and your friend. You may wish you had a different director. She's not in the room right now. I appreciate that nobody really went a big whoop on that, but I'm going to tell you what. And certainly not over here where I know my unit's sitting there. Oh, thank God. There they are. But I'll assure you that you're exactly where you need to be with the leader that you need to be with. I will assure you of that. So what is your next win? What is your next win? Mary Kay used to often say, you can eat an elephant one bite at a time. Have you heard that quote from her personally? You understand the imagery, but you can't go from where you are right now to National Sales Director by Leadership Conference. But where can you be by December 31st? Where can you be by September 15th? By July 31st? By the end of today? Oh, by the end of today, you could be in a different place. I just got a notification right now in my mailbox that Stephanie McMillan got a brand new beauty consultant. She was here, I was back there, and I got the notification. So she was doing something out here that was productive at the same time other people are thinking they have to wait until they get home. That's all I'm saying. It takes courage and grit to define and live those benchmarks and trust yourself to take action in the face of fear. Your courage employed today is your confidence tomorrow. Courage is not acted on today. Courage that is not acted on today is increased fear, and it will lower your confidence tomorrow. Courage, it's a willingness to endure rejection or failure by taking an action that risks both rejection and failure repeatedly. Courageous people don't place a value on the fear of what if as much as they place a value on what might be. How will you respect the hours of your day? Create urgency, keep your focus, and become a better you in the process. Girls, miracles start to happen when you put more energy into your dreams than you give to your fears. So what is your missed shot? What is it that triggers a negative emotion or feeling or failure, and how will you stop calling that failure? Or worse yet, how will you stop dodging it altogether so that you don't have to know the score today? What will a win for you look like today? Number 4, sharpen your people power. This is a relationship business. Remember, it's critical to make connections. We're better together. Partner up to go up, but select your power partners very carefully. Power is a key word. If a person makes your chest tighten, leaves you with a question mark in your mind, steals some of your light, injects doubt or gossip, there is nothing powerful about that. You are neither victim nor helpless in the way that you connect with people, but I will remind you, until you get the lesson, you will keep getting the lesson. Except that the price tag gets higher as you age. Deciding the qualities you want to reflect and drawing the boundaries around people who have qualities you don't want influencing you is one of the most high-level personal growth decisions anyone can make. And while you're in the process, you'd be well suited to align yourself at opportunities where like-minded people gather. When you're around people who are also trying to improve themselves and establish healthy, successful habits, you're sharpened, like at your unit meeting. Approach this season of your life taking charge, putting up your antenna, designing your life with a plan in mind, else you're left vulnerable to repeat old patterns, old setbacks, and old losses. Realign in a way that both attract a new type of person in your life as well as be the type of person that others can also call a lifter of their life. I've been on both sides of this line. Transitioning from one place to the other, it can feel very painful and lonely. But the rewards and opportunities on the other side of walking away from what did not serve you well, or who did not serve you well, or who is not serving you well, are also worth a season of pruning. Reflect to others what you want to receive from others. A smile, a sincere compliment, a word of encouragement. Who am I and who do I want to become? We get lots of practice throughout the course of every day. Mary Kay Ash was so wise and so right to make the golden rule a loud philosophy in our company. I always heard stories of her walking through the back hallways of convention centers and speaking to the workers and wait staff and looking them in the eye. And then as I moved up in the business, I got to witness her doing that. After Mary Kay's stroke, some teenagers from her church youth group went to sing her songs in her home. I'm sure their youth group leader thought it would be a kind thing to do, and I'm sure at their age, some of them were a little less than energetic for the road trip. But the story goes that as they left her home, Mary Kay stood at the door, and without being able to speak words from her stroke, she communicated one at a time with each kid at the door. And she moved them so deeply, they were inspired by her, and they begged to go back and sing for Mary Kay weekly. That's years of practicing, communicating the value to the person in front of you. Her philosophy that every person has an invisible sign around their neck that reads, "Make me feel important." I call it the see me sign. See me. I witnessed Mary Kay standing on the heels, her own high heels, and then in her stocking feet, and looking into the eyes of people and listening to their stories of the person in front of her as if they were the only person in the room. In this environment with a schedule to keep and needing to be so many places at one time, that's very difficult to do. Because I would never want one of you to feel like I wasn't paying attention to you or giving you the time that you wanted with me. And this environment is hectic, but Mary Kay did it with grace and with ease. Do you ever fail? Lost patience, things don't go your way, inconvenience, a bad driver, bad news, a relative pushing your buttons? Me too. You have to practice who you want to be in undesirable situations. Like all skills, people skills must be practiced. Smile at people. Make eye contact. Listen to their words. Think from their perspective. People walk into a room or into your space and either you light it up or you suck the air right back out of it. We all do the same. People do it to us, we do it to them. As you consider your people power, also consider that you become like the 5 people that you spend the majority of your time with and conversation with. She who cannot light herself on fire cannot warm others. And so you better be careful of who you're around and be aware of your people impact. Number 4, accentuate the positive. According to the latest research in positive psychology, again, we've learned what we've always known: optimists do better. They do better in school, they do better in work, and they do better on the playing field. Optimists do better. Is it time to reset the optimistic set point? You know, life can get after any of us, and it can damage any of our dreams, but there really is power in positive thinking, and you can do this. Nothing is as invigorating as reaching your goals. Now, I can spend some time here on this next part because I love the science behind our brains and our thoughts and our habits and the words we say to ourselves, because our mind tells our brains what to do. It's scientifically, biologically, mind over matter. There are 75 to 100 trillion cells in your body. Cells are impacted by your thoughts. Every day we have 56,000 to 66,000 thoughts a day. 80% of those are negative thoughts, and 90% of those thoughts are the same that we thought yesterday. And if we live today on autopilot, these take over. We were designed and wired for love. Our ability to think and decide is the most powerful thing next to God. And because of limited time, I just want you to know that your mind can unexpectedly change your brain in so many positive ways. You can change your DNA. You can make yourself smarter. You can intentionally direct your attention. The non-conscious mind, way back here, it's where 99.9% of our mind activity is. It's stored. It's the root level that stores thoughts and emotions and perceptions and how it impacts the conscious mind of what we do and say. If you've ever had an emotion come over you and quickly wondered, where'd that come from? You're having a perfectly good day. Have you ever noticed? And then all of a sudden, something like, where'd that come from? It's way back in that subconscious mind. That's the biological explanation. Everything, every action, everything you do, everything you say, everywhere you go, everything is first fired by a thought. You, however, get to choose how long a thought gets residence. You might not be able to control the first thought that comes in, but sister, you can control how long it stays there and what the second thought is. Thoughts occupy mental real estate. Ever played Monopoly? Understand the real estate philosophy? Your thoughts are occupying real estate. You choose what and where and how long it stays. Because your brain is designed to respond to your mind. Your mind tells your brain what to do. Internal activity in your mind is where everything begins. Thinking is a blessing and a curse, not to be taken lightly. A thought that just pops into your mind, it's your responsibility to filter it. Only when that thought is repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated does it take ownership and bring either life or death, blessing and cursing. I lay before you this day life and death, blessing and cursing. Choose. Choose life. Choose life. It's the epitome of God's decision to give us free will and choice. We're not victims to our minds, regardless of how rampant they become. The most dominant thoughts we think will become what we take action on. The works and the positive and the negative, it works either way. If the belief that we cannot, have not, will not dominates, it is what we will not do. You've heard Mary Kay quoted as saying, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, There's wisdom and scientific truth in that. It turns out that biology and science back it up. Transformation begins in the renewing of your mind. Capture those thoughts and renew your mind. You have the power and control to choose what you think. And if it isn't beneficial, you can redirect the thought and retrain your brain to think a new thought. I want you to pause here for a second, and I want you to ask yourself, what is the most negative dominant thought that you've allowed yourself to park on, that has become a limiting factor in your business? And how can you flip that thought? What's the truth about it? What is the truth about that thought? The thought that's held you back is a lie. So now how can you flip it and tell yourself a new story? And how many times will you need to retell it and retell it and retell it? Your brain will believe you as you do that. Recently, I've gone back and forth between my Safari and Chrome browser. I just can't decide who. I'm really a Mac Apple kind of girl, but I was using Safari, and now it's easier sometimes to use Chrome. And so when I started using the Chrome browser, even though I was going to familiar sites such as InTouch, it didn't have my passwords stored. It had no memory. It had no passwords. It had no history. I'd never been there before because Safari was my default. Safari had all the stored passwords. I was starting fresh with Chrome. I can make all new passwords without it telling me what they are. What are your defaults? Worry, negativity, fear, doubt, dodging, excuses. You can create a new default. Put in all new information, create all new passwords, new experiences, and tell it exactly what you want it to say. It doesn't take a major life crisis or a challenge to pull you off course or drag you down. Just the normalcies of any day can do it. So you've got to have that default in place. Have you created the habit of doubt and skepticism because of past experience? Maybe self-pity, a bad break, somebody did you wrong. You're living stressed out, discouraged, depressed, in shame over something from your past. You know what, girls? Get anchored to the truth of positivity and hope. Proverbs 23:7 says, "For as she thinks in her heart, so is she." Thinking, heart, and belief are all connected. We're wired that way. I want you to live your big dream out loud. I want you to dream big. Go out each and every day expecting goodness. Bring light into the day of others. We've got to stop defining now and ready based on circumstances. Instead of waiting for the moment to define ready, you define ready and create the moment. You can't be what you can't see. Every day ask yourself repeatedly, who am I and who do I want to become? And then choose the positive version of what you have the choice and freedom to create. Celebrate your freedom and the opportunity to be an entrepreneur, the privilege of living in a country where free enterprise is alive and well. You can be what you can see. We're each in a work of progress, and we're all a work of progress, and we learn from those who've already had success in the areas we struggle in. Take the first step. You got to make a decision that you're going to move on. It won't happen automatically. You'll have to rise up and say, I don't care how hard this is. I don't care how disappointed I am. I'm not going to let this get the best of me. I'm moving on with my life. Optimism and hope will unlock doors and new opportunities, and your attitude is the control center of your life. Let's take a look at what you've already done today. Okay, you've already made progress today. You created a goal statement in the Greatness Within You class. You texted customers to get 5 skincare parties in the Ready Right Now class. You blasted, I am invincible. You did post that. And you marketed your business on social media today in the Invincible class. You want to know the magic answer of how to move up the Mary Kay career path? Well, your answer is you're already doing it. You did it today. You've done it today. And all the little activities that you've done in this classroom this morning, repeated, they add up to big things. The key is to keep doing these things over and over. Do them tomorrow and the day after and the day after and the day after that. You have it. The principle of accumulation is at work in every area of your life. We know that the effects of time accumulate. We see it on our face. We see it in our bodies. We see it on our children. Time accumulates, and it gives us a different result. Your health, your food, your nutrition, your sleep and exercise, it accumulates, and the way you do those things gives you a result over time. We intellectually know this, that time stands still for nothing and no one, yet we think tomorrow or next month or next quarter, or consider how the effects of accumulation have already played out. We know the math of not consistently being on the date book for parties, not holding repeat power starts, not making kitchen table a part of our Mary Kay week. We have the accumulation of not working the business consistently. what could be the accumulation factor of working the heart and core of our business with consistency. Just as there is very little guesswork to a fit and healthy body, there is very little guesswork in building a successful Mary Kay business. Our choices over time produce a result. This factor cannot be denied. Your choices for the past 1 to 5 years have produced the life you're living right now. The values, the priorities, the way you've invested or spent or squandered your time. Now, before regret kicks in and anybody starts feeling badly, don't use the past as an excuse to miss out on your future. The beauty of now is that we have today. So from this point, moving forward, how will you be more intentional with your business choices to give time and accumulation the opportunity to produce a successful outcome for your Mary Kay business? Here are 6 practical steps to put into motion immediately. Ready? Number 1, start your day with a quiet time. Faith-based message, reading scripture, prayer. Refocus your thoughts on your new intent. Look at your goal poster and read your affirmations. I just told my friend this morning, I think people think that we just wake up and we're ready to go. We just wake up and we're like, that is not true. I wake up and I think, what day is it? Where am I? That's what happened to me this morning. And then I thought through my day and the schedule of it and the responsibility of it and the length of it, and I was like, okay, I need a deep cleansing breath before I even go any further. See, I think people think that successful people wake up and they're like, wow, and they look like, and that's not true. I could show you a before picture if I could flash it onto a projector, and it's not pretty. So start your day the right way with a faith-based refreshment. Number 2, design your day 1/2 hour at a time. Set a timer to stay on course. It doesn't matter if you have a list. If your list doesn't produce a growth outcome, it's just something on a list. Number 3, create appointments with yourself to accomplish tasks that formerly just went onto a list and never became urgent. Number 4, ask yourself often, is what I'm about to do taking me closer to my goal? What do I want to do now? What do I want most? And then get in the habit of redirecting an inferior choice in the moment. Set up your day tomorrow number 5, set up your day tomorrow before you go to bed at night tonight. Reprioritize your 6 most important lists and put them on a 1/2 hour time frame, and then think through what creates a successful today. Number 6, respond to the tracking and accountability systems and communication modes of your independent sales director and be a team player for the larger group goal. She has one. Model being a team player, and team players will come to you. Who are you allowing to write this chapter of your life? Sister, I want you to grab the pen. Let's write a better story for this next season. Let's title it Today. Let's tighten the goals, create the urgency, focus on what matters, connect with people, and sharpen your people power. Choose to think and live from a positive frame of mind, and you can shift the acceleration of your success with this intention. I know you can do it. Repetition is what brings about excellence. What was once hard becomes easy when you do it every day. It's not easy, but it is worth it. At Career Conference 1995, Mary Kay Ash said, remember, if you do the things you ought to do when you ought to do them, then someday you can do the things you want to do when you want to do them, like becoming a national. Whatever you do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius and power and magic in it. I wish you a great, great year ahead. God bless you so much. Thank you for your time today, and I'll see you this afternoon. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.